What's up, ladies and gents? Random Guy 1 I'm here with my first ever Gestalt video. Yeah, we're gonna do Combiner Wars Menasor. And, you know, I've fiddled around with Menasor a bit. Like, before this video actually came about. Moving the camera forward a bit. And he's pretty decent. He's got some problems, particularly some ratchet joint issues. Starting with drag strip. Okay, so his ratchet joint for combined mode, it clicks up, but it does not click down anymore. And I think that's because this specific region of plastic right here just stretched up to the point where it couldn't, like, the connection was stressing and a bunch of stuff happened on the inside, and now it doesn't really, it's just a mirror friction joint. I mean, this joint still works, but this joint does not. And here's another problem. Here's another ratcheting issue. Motormaster's hips. I was fiddling with my Motormaster for combined mode, and normally you get this outward movement on a tight ratchet. Well, this ratchet was so tight that it actually busted, and now it's a mere friction joint. I can't tell if it's a blessing or a bad thing. It's a blessing because you don't have to deal with tight clicks anymore, but it's also a bad thing because, like, you know, how long is this gonna last? There's a reason all the hips are ratchets. Anyway, sending that up like that, getting his crotch plate oriented. We are ready to combine. Now, Rook and Prowl, they're my arms, but I'm starting them in alt mode to show off what their leg modes look like. So to start with Prowl, we're just going to take this windshield section, bring it up like that. We're going to just, like, transform them to roll out mode nearly. Next, we're going to take this whole front section, underpiece included, and we're going to bring it all the way back, like so. Then we take our hand-foot gun, plug it into the port, and we have his leg. And of course, you have to flip up the combiner port. It's a good looking, it's a decent leg mode, but me personally, I like him as an arm. So to get him into his arm mode, what we're going to do is we're going to open up his legs, bring them down like you normally would. We're going to take this bit and rotate it down and just close up the legs like that. Orient it, bring down the ratchet. Next, we're going to bring up the arms, and you see here there's a little, I don't know, well, the camera will focus on it. There's a tab right here that'll just tab into this little slot right there. It's a pretty secure connection, not gonna lie. Then we're going to take our combined mode foot gun thing, and we're gonna form into a hand. And we're going to plug that. We're going to plug said hand into gray port, and we have arm. We have his arm mode ready to go. Now for Rook, his leg mode, we're pretty much doing the same thing. We're going to robot mode, bring this forward like so, bring this back panel up. Going to take his head, fold it about here. Like, we're not going to fold it up by much, just like here at this angle, because this will give us clearance to bring up the connector port, and at the same time give some enough clearance to support this backpack to go through. And I did something wrong. It's, I guess, preferably up to here for the head. I'm going to untap his arms to show you. Fold up the head in this 90-degree angle, give it more clearance for this section to come through. Like so, and there are two giant tabs right here that'll tab into these two slots under the ports for his shoulders, and then you can tuck the head in more. Take his hand-foot gun, plug it in, and we have Rook as a leg. He's a pretty decent leg. He's like Prowl, but I'm surprised on how different his combiner mode port looks. Because, like, if you look at the average combiner port, it's got, like, that little zigzag pattern. His does not. His is a straight rectangle with a ratchet in it. To get him into arm mode, we're pretty much already there. We just gotta orient that combiner port like so. Do the legs transformation stuff. Bring out the legs and all that. Connect these two sections right here. Rotate at the waist. No, other way, because he's a left arm? I don't know. And then we're going to take our combiner hand foot gun. Plug it in. And we got an arm. And he's a really good arm mode. And now with all that being said, we are going to raise our camera because this Menasor is gonna get really tall. Now, now, gonna take drag strip. Slide him in. We're gonna take off-road. Slide him in. And now we got a legs. We got him standing. Now, I'm gonna raise the camera up a bit more because Menasor is a big boy. He's a big boy. He's a mommy wow. He's a big kid now. Anyway, I think we should just lower it a bit via here, and we're going to take Prowl, slide him in. We're going to take Rook and slide him in. Okay. And here we have Menasor in his glory, and you know, he's a decent combiner. He's got his flaws. Certainly better than this piece of junk right here. Ha ha. Anyway, good combiner. Like, he's certainly not as awe-inspiring as awe-inspiring. How do you say that? Awe-inspiring, awe-inspiring, whatever. He doesn't have the shock and awe that Defensor and Superion get, but he's still a good combiner. Head sculpt is very nice. He's got, I've grown accustomed to the face. He's got some nice Viking horns that you can pose, so if you feel sad, you can just have him down like that. Or, you know, it's certainly not like Superion's earpieces where he literally had to get a third-party upgrade for that. He's a good combiner. And yeah, nothing too bad with him. I just got a couple complaints because they're like the problems aren't in the limbs themselves. It's just in the main Motormaster mold. Because I got this because recently they're releasing more Motormasters with better hips because of the Battlecore Optimus, which got better hips than the first run of the mold, and they've applied those upgrades to Motormaster. So, frankly, he cannot. We're gonna go down to his legs here right now. He does not like he doesn't have a good like leg thing going on, so I can't like tab these in. But I'm okay with that. My problem though. Actually, yeah, it's in this problem in particular is in the limbs. We're just gonna unslide these two. We're gonna take these two out for now. These two are good as legs. I like the way drag strip looks. I love the way off-road looks as a like. It's so simple, but it works. But here's the problem: off-road. And if we put him into his alt mode, which isn't too hard, he's actually just. Leave him out like that. If you look, we can just leave it like this. I don't know why I'm making this really longer than it used to. Anyway, plug in. The drag strip, if you look, off-road is a lot taller than drag strip. It doesn't go, it's not leveled with my finger. Off-road's just a tad taller. So Menasor has problems like standing straight. So what I have to do is I fiddle it around until he looks like he's actually standing straight, because normally he doesn't look like he's standing straight. Because you'll always have the problem of one foot's flat on the ground while the other one's just tilted like that. But is not too big of a problem. Excuse me. Another problem I have, it's pretty much in the articulation. Articulation, head's really nice range of movement. You can look all the way up because he's got like a ball joint and a hinge for that. You can, wow, that's a wide range of movement. Another problem with Motormaster. This section doesn't securely connect, so when I want to move it, I end up like just destroying the whole mechanism. So in order for me to rotate his shoulders, which I'll show off that he has a full 360, I'll have to actually hold on to this whole windshield section chunk. Outward movement in the shoulders, biceps swivel with his waist joint for prowl, double elbow joint. He's got a wrist swivel. Oh, you should see that. He's got a wrist swivel, palm, like fingers, thumb. That friction joint, man. I gotta get like Cyclonus or something. He's got a waist joint. Hips go forward, backward, outward, inward. Thigh swivel? Thigh swivel, knee joint. And just nothing at the feet. He's got some decent articulation. He's pretty posable. He's got the Menasor, which he can hold, and I've actually found a pretty good way where you can store everyone else's accessories. So for the two Decepticon weapons, I just plug them into the wrist holes of Motormaster's wrist holes, because their wrists just stay like right up here, folded up, being unsubtle, even though they think they are being subtle. I take Prowl's gun and I plug it onto this port on Rook, because you know, white on white. And you got that going on. And for Rook's weapon, I use this peg right here, plug into the wrist hole right there. You know, it'll make it look like a longer blade, and I kind of like that look, honestly. Me personally, I kind of like that look. And that's how I pretty much store my weapons. You know, you could store it however you like. Hey, look up. You can store it pretty much however you like, but that's how I personally store it. Not bad. Motormaster is not, like, Menasor is not bad, but just every problem he has just consists in Motormaster himself. So for now, we're just going to take off these accessories because it's size comparison time. I don't know what that was. I'm sorry. Anyway, move him to the back, because we're going to take a look at some of mainstream figures. Here he is with a deluxe Sky Warp. Yeah, Menasor's a big boy. Big boy. Here he is with Springer. That doesn't really work. Here he is with AoE Leader Grimlock. Excuse me, I'm kind of burping because I just got out of dinner. Okay, I'm gonna have to stand up for this one. Here he is with the I don't know how to describe it, how to say it. Here he is with the ROTF Bumblebee guy.
I'm so excited!
Here he is with Ultimate Optimus Prime. And honestly, for a combiner of this generation, where, you know, everything is pretty much shrinking, he's almost like he's just a head shorter. Menasor is just a head shorter than a Ultimate Optimus Prime. And here he is with the combiner before this. Here he is with the Brute Icarus. Follow Cybertron Bruticus. Not a bad combiner, but he just gets outshined by this guy right here. Again, not a bad combiner. If you got this guy, good for you, but yeah, this is so much better. So much better. And a couple more figures I actually forgot. Here he is with 2007 Movie Leader Prime. Gotta orient his hips, make him stand up straight. And yeah, he's actually a lot taller than a old figure. And last figure before we wrap things up. Here he is with the Preds. Just because. The dusty Preds. So yeah, Menasor. Is he good? Yes. Is he bad? Sorta. Is he decent? Absolutely. He's a decent combiner that like I wouldn't recommend him if you like the Stunticons. Pick up Motormaster. Like pick up the current like copies of Motormaster, because his previous copies were like yeah. But and make sure you complete the Stunticons, please, because you don't want to have to resort to 2 Autobots, 2 Decepticons, and this, because it's kind of uncohesive. So if I were you, and you can't get your hands on like a fully fledged out team, okay, here's what I say: if you can get access to a fully fledged out team like the Decepticons or the repaints, go for the torso of that corresponding team. If you can't, get Cyclonus. That's all I have to say about that. It's true. It's in the lore. Cyclonus is apparently Mind Wipe. Anyways, good figure. Should you pick him up? It really depends on your tastes. If you go for the third-party figures, that's fine. If you go for the Hasbro combiners, that's fine. Like, my problem with the third parties, they're too complex, and sometimes they look like there's too much going on. I mean, like, Feral Rex was a good example. Like, he's a good combiner, but he just... I felt there was too much going on with him. M3, unnecessary ratchets. Uranos, geez, do I want to go there? Hercules, great combiner. I don't have any opinions on that really, but he looks like a good one to have. But Hasbro's, they're just fine. There's nothing wrong. Anyways, I'm gonna go now.